Today we're releasing part 2 of our Getting Started with Cord Cutting series. In this video we're going to take a look at the streaming players you need to consider when you become a cord cutter. Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV. We're also going to talk briefly about others, but these are the big four, and we're going to take a look at what's right for you. Now we're going to do this from the standpoint of when you take it home, you plug it in, how does it work for you? Yeah, we could break down, oh, this one has a slightly faster processor and this one has a little bit more RAM. But to me, what's most important is when I take it home, I open the box and I plug it in. Does it work? Does it do what I need to do? One other thing to remember here is not all streaming players are right for everyone. You may have a friend that says the Fire TV is the best, and somebody else may say, hey, the Apple TV is the best. And they may be completely correct for them. But for you, neither one may be the right fit. So we're going to hopefully help you find the one that is the right fit for you, offers the features you want, offers the services you want, and a basic beginner's guide here with this. So let's dive into part 2 of Getting Started with Cord Cutting. So what is a streaming player? This is a common question I get. Hey, I'm considering canceling cable. I'm a beginner. I don't really do anything right now. What are streaming players? Why do I need one? What do I need? Well, a streaming player at its core is basically a cable TV box. It basically replaces your cable box, where your cable box takes your signal from the wall and turns it into an image on your TV. You have a remote to control it. Same thing from Roku or Apple or Fire TV and more. They take a signal from the internet, turns it into an image and puts it on your TV. They're a lot like a cell phone with iPhones and Android. They have app stores on there, and you can download apps for like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Sling and PlayStation View and watch the content there. Now what they are not is they're not a buy a device and get it for free for the rest of your life. If somebody's promising you, hey, buy this streaming player and you'll be able to stream everything you ever want for free the rest of your life. As my grandma always said, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So just keep that in mind. Now there are free content on all of these. There are legal services like Pluto and Crackle and Tubi and the Roku channel and more that offer ad-supported free content. And even apps for like ABC and NBC offers some free content, but some of it is behind a paywall. And with cable, you use your Comcast or Spectrum to get access to that. With cord cutting, you can get access to services like Sling and PlayStation View and more that will allow you to log into different apps on it. So just keep that in mind. There are so many great options out there. But this is not a buy and get it for free the rest of your life kind of deal. So I wanted to set that expectation. Just like when you buy a cell phone, Netflix isn't suddenly free on it. It's not with a Roku or Fire TV. But what is it? So what do you get with these devices? Let's take a look at it starting with Roku. Now, Roku is one of the original streaming players with the Apple TV. Was originally developed by Netflix with the president of Roku. They were going to release a Netflix streaming player. And then right before it launched, I guess, we don't really know exactly what happened, but had a change of mind. According to reports, is they kind of decided, hey, if we release a Netflix branded streaming player, would Apple and other companies let us put our device, our app on their devices? So they decided to give the Netflix player over to Roku, which was already created, and allow Roku to release it as a Roku streaming player. And ever since, Roku's been one of the leaders, and according to our readers, 70% of our readers own a Roku. It's our most popular device amongst our readers over at CordCuttersNews.com. A big part of that is it's very cheap. It starts at $30 for an HD version, goes up to $99 for a 4K version. Now there's a few versions in the middle. There's some streaming sticks as you see pictured here, and more with that. I would recommend at this day to get a 4K version. They start at like $40 to $60 for 4K. And the reason I recommend that is it gets you a little bit more future-proof. If you ever decide to upgrade your TV to a 4K, you won't have to go re-buy a Roku. And with them only being $20 more expensive than an HD version for a good 4K version of the Roku player, I would spend that money if you can. If you don't care, the Roku Expresses are actually very good models. If you get the 2017 or 2018 version, stay away from any of the refurbished 2016s. They are noticeably slower. So just keep that in mind. What happens if you want to buy a new TV? Roku does offer TVs with Roku built in, and they're very good TVs. But if you're happy with your TV you have now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. If your TV's broke and you need a new one, yeah, this is a great option. It offers a lot of cool features, like you can add an antenna to it and have it built right into the TV experience, and it means you only have one remote, so keep that in mind. But if you have a TV you're happy with on all these, I would just get the Roku player, the Roku stick, and avoid replacing a perfectly good TV. The other great thing about the Rokus is the fact that they have a super large streaming selection. No other streaming player has more apps than Roku right now. And pretty much every major streaming service is on Roku. Sometimes they're first, sometimes they're not. With Philo, they were one of the first streaming services to get Philo. With Sling TV, they were the very first. With YouTube TV, they weren't. Of course, YouTube TV is owned by Google, who owns Android TV. We'll cover that in a minute. But just keep in mind, if you want a ton of apps, Roku's a really great option for it. What's the other reason people get a lot of Rokus is the remote. Now, the remotes with Roku on the $49 and higher price includes the ability to control your TV, turn it on and off, control the volume with it. They do have these quick launch buttons, which are typically like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, Sling, DirecTV Now, for example. Each model has slightly different buttons on it, but it allows you with a click of a button to launch Netflix without having to manage the home screen. Now, the home screen is something you're going to want to look at. I'll put a link in the show notes down below of our recent unboxing of the Roku Ultra that just came out this year. And you can take a look at the device, and you can take a look at the user interface. It's a very simple interface. Roku decided we're going to make this thing so simple that, heck, my 5-year-old daughter easily uses it. My parents easily use it without having to ask me a ton of questions. But the downside of that is it's not the most beautiful user interface. Super simple, super easy. Some people call it ugly. Some people love it. That's a personal decision of what you're going to like. So check out that link. I will say Roku has built a good reputation. As I said earlier with our raters, it's the #1 streaming player out there. But there's reasons not to get it, like the fact that it does not have the most beautiful user interface on it. So keep that in mind. Next up is the Apple TV. If you are a hardcore Apple person, everything you own is Apple, you may want to consider an Apple TV. Now, like you would expect with Apple, it's kind of pricey. $149.99 for an HD version Apple TV, or $179 for a 4K version. I would recommend, again, getting the 4K version. It does make you a little bit more future-proof, and if you're paying that much money, paying just a little bit more will help you avoid having to buy another one the next time you upgrade your TV. So just keep that in mind. It does have a greatly improved app support. If I recorded this video even a year ago, especially 2 years ago, I would have had to say, Apple TV doesn't have Netflix, or excuse me, doesn't have Amazon, it doesn't have Vudu and other services out there that they've added. Pretty much every major streaming service is now on the Apple TV. Now, there are a lot of smaller ones out there that are not on the Apple TV. NewsOn, for example, which is a free streaming service that allows you to watch your local news live and on demand for free, is only on Roku, not on the Apple TV. But most of the major ones, the Netflix, the Hulu, the Amazons, the Sling TVs, PlayStation View, YouTube TV, etc., are now on Apple TV, which is pretty cool. There is one thing they have that no one else pretty much has: iTunes. If you buy most of your movies and TV shows through iTunes, you're going to want an Apple TV. So keep that in mind. There is an Apple tax, as a lot of people call it. It is a very good device, though. It's very powerful. It's way overkill. If all you want to do with it is stream Netflix and Amazon, this thing is extremely overqualified for that. The downside of this is the remote. Now, it does allow you to do some things like control the volume of your TV like the Roku does, but it has a touchpad, as you can see over here, as opposed to a directional up and down arrow. This is one of those things that you either love it or you hate it. Some people hate it, some people love it. Now, it works just like a directional pad. You swipe your thumb left to go left, you swipe it right to go right, up, down, you click on it, just like you would with your touchpad on a laptop. But it's a very good device that will take some getting used to. But keep in mind, there is a slight Apple tax. There is some catches, like with Amazon Vudu. You can watch content you've already bought on another device, but you can't buy content on Amazon through an Apple TV like you could with a Roku or you could with a Fire TV, for example. So If you are a heavy iTunes user, if you're a heavy Apple user, this is the device for you. Just bear in mind the downside with it. All right, let's keep on going to the next one. Amazon's Fire TV is one of the newest streaming players on the market, and it's really made a splash. 40% of our readers are saying they use and own a Fire TV. You're probably saying, Luke, didn't Roku have 70% of the market? Yes. Most people out there own multiple devices. We find in our recent survey, it's not unusual to have a Roku in your living room and a Fire TV in your bedroom, for example. So keep that in mind. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Amazon has really jumped on the market by having an aggressive price point, starting at $39.99, going up to $119.99. And also because they're Amazon and they can really pump it up through stores and through Amazon.com and other places to really promote it. There's 3 models. There's a stick, which is HD only at $39.99. There's a new 4K stick at $49.99 that I would recommend you get over the HD version. It's only $10 more, and it's going to mean in the future you're not going to have to go buy another one. It's a much faster processor, more memory in it, better remote, which now includes on the versions out there the ability to turn on and off your TV with the 4K and up, control the volume and more right through your remote, just like you could on the other devices, which is a great addition. It also includes the ability to have Amazon Alexa built in, which is a great feature here. So instead of with like the Apple TV having Siri and Roku having some Google Home support, if you have a Google Home device to control your Roku, Amazon, of course, has basically an Echo built into each one, with the Fire TV Cube even being hands-free. No need to press the mute button or the microphone button on the remote. If you really like your Echoes, you have a ton of Echoes in your home, you may want to think about Fire TV. If you really have a ton of content purchased through Amazon, well, Amazon is on most other streaming players. It really is a better experience on the Fire TV. It's an Amazon-owned device with an Amazon-owned streaming player. Of course, it's going to give you the best Amazon experience here. The one downside with it is that there is no YouTube officially. Now, there is a browser for the free version of YouTube that has done a very good job of replacing the official YouTube app that was removed about a year ago. But YouTube TV is still not really supported. There's workarounds that can give mixed result on it. So if you're a YouTube heavy user, if you're a YouTube TV heavy user, keep in mind that you're going to have to use a browser experience, which is good, but it does noticeably lag behind devices with a dedicated YouTube app. Past that, you won't really find any other services missing on the Fire TV. Like the Apple TV, the Amazon Fire TV in the last year or two has done a great job adding a ton of services. It's not perfect, but it does have pretty much every major streaming service on the market as of the time of this recording. There is even now TVs with built-in Fire TVs. Again, if you're happy with your TV and it's not broken, I would just get a streaming player and plug it into the TV. If you're looking for a TV and you really want Fire TV, I would consider the new second generation Fire TVs. They're a huge step up. They just came out earlier this year. Over the first generation, they bring 4K HDR to the TVs, and they're for sale at Best Buy and Amazon, and it's a decent device. So check that out. Just be aware, it is heavily built into Amazon, which is great, but due to a fight with Google, there is no official YouTube or YouTube TV support, just a workaround through the browser. So keep that in mind. All right, next up, Android TV. It's built by Google, but they don't actually manufacture Android TV devices themselves anymore. With the partnership with third-party companies like NVIDIA, they do sell streaming players from about $69.99 to $199 out there. The great thing about this is all of them out there are 4K HDR with Chromecast built in. So the reason I don't recommend a Chromecast is for price of a Chromecast Ultra, you can get an Android TV box at Walmart with the My Box or the Jet Box. I would highly recommend that over a standalone Chromecast. So it'll give you everything a Chromecast will give you and a ton more out there. NVIDIA Shield is the flagship of the Android TV line. Is on the pricier end because it is a super powerful device. Arguably, depending on which stat you look at, the most powerful streaming player out there. I know Apple will say, hey, we have the most powerful. NVIDIA says they have the most powerful. Kind of one of those things on which number you want to emphasize most is what you'll get with that. But it is primarily a gaming system, but a really good streaming player also. If you're not interested in gaming, you may want to get the cheaper bundle without the remote, or maybe look at one of the cheaper streaming players that Walmart sells with Android TV built in. A lot of like Sony TVs now build in Android TV as their default OS for their smart TVs, so there are TVs with it built in. Keep that in mind. The downside about Android TV is that the device app support is still kind of weak. No DirecTV Now, no Hulu with Live TV. There is a Hulu on demand only version. No Android or TV support for Amazon across the board. Some apps have added Amazon separately, like the NVIDIA Shield offers Amazon support, but no support there. The great thing about it is it does have Google Play. If you buy everything on Google Play, your options really are Roku, which also supports Google Play, or Android TV. Of course, Android TV is built around Google Play, so you may want to check that out. It does do a lot of things if you're a heavy Google user. For example, if you save your password in your browser for Netflix, it will auto log you into Netflix on your Android TV without you having to do anything. Setup for Android users is super simple. It allows you to link your accounts and do all kinds of cool things. But some of the app support is lacking on it still. Hopefully Google steps up their game with Android TV and gets more apps on it soon and make a really good competitor. All right, so there you go. There are the top 4. There are other streaming players, like I talked about, Chromecast, which I would recommend again. Get an Android TV just because for the same price as a Roku Ultra, or excuse me, a Google Chrome Ultra, you can get a Android TV device instead of a Chromecast. So keep that in mind. I think I tripped up on the name there. But if you have questions, leave them down below. Or I'll put links to these in the show notes, but check out our Facebook group, Cord Cutting Tech Support. 45,000 people who do nothing but answer cord cutting related questions. Check out our website, cordcuttersnews.com, for more news, tips, tricks, and how-to guides all about the world of cord cutting. So if you have a question there, let us know. But remember, there are no wrong decisions here. It really comes down to what you want. If you're a heavy YouTube TV person, Android TV kind of gives you a great experience. If you're a heavy Apple person, maybe an Apple TV would. If you do 90% of your stuff through Amazon, maybe the Fire TV is what you want. If you have a ton of apps you want to get access to, Roku's, they offer a lot of support, including different app stores or movie stores like Amazon, Vudu, Fandango, Google Play, and more, giving you access to a little bit of everything. So check that out. If you have a question, let me know. Remember, this is just one video in a whole series of how-to guides. We would love to hear from you. We would love your feedback on what videos you would like us to see create in the future and what different topics we should cover in this particular series. So until then, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, check the link for the playlist for all of our how to begin with cord cutting series. We hope this helped you avoid some mistakes and get a better idea of all the different streaming players out there.